Guys who married bridezillas, what happened after the wedding? Got into a huge fight about broccoli on the honeymoon. All my fault, of course. I knew then it was a mistake. Toughed it out for 2 more years of bad treatment before I left. So glad I did. How was broccoli your fault exactly? Because I hadn't previously disclosed that I liked it. We didn't even have any. I learned a lot about narcissism, mental illness and substance taking during the next 2 years and have avoided them ever since. Good life lessons. You didn't disclose that beforehand? WTF, you monster! My cousin was married to one. He comes from a very not wealthy area and has become successful himself after moving out of his hometown. His wife was extremely wealthy, even could say excessively. They married after a year of knowing each other, and boy, was it a surprise to hear about the wedding plans. They spent 250k plus on the wedding, including catering by 5 to 7 different restaurants. Their food was from different cultures and cooked in front of you. Think almost hibachi buffet style. They even had servers in tailed suits and white gloves, serving Taco Bell after midnight once everyone was drunk. Once they got married, she was spending more money than he could make. She was getting mad because he wasn't making enough, while she wasn't working and they hadn't had kids. They got divorced and she gave him an ultimatum of getting his ring back or keeping the dog. He kept the dog. Yes, as he should. Her sister, a lawyer, helped her file a restraining order on him, and they haven't spoken since. F her, but man, did he dodge a bullet. Added, I forgot to say they finished the divorce papers exactly 1 year and 1 day after their wedding. Is it really a dodged bullet if he still married her? He could have procreated with her and been linked to her by children for the rest of his life. I think this more so counts as being lightly grazed by a bullet rather than dodging it. At least this way he could have a pretty clean break. I married a groomzilla, bent over backwards to make the wedding as magical as he wanted. I would have been happy in someone's backyard with a potluck. He admitted in couples counseling 7 years later that he never really wanted to marry me as much as he wanted a huge show and party. Everyone liked and approved of me, so he wanted them all to see that he was making a good choice and be envious. He wanted them to be proud of him. We used most of the money I got from a car accident settlement. Could have put it in a down payment in a small house. He asked for a divorce in 2020. My upvote is a downvote for him. You married a real a-hole. What an awful thing to do. And OP replied, it was awful, but he was not an a-hole, just utterly unself-aware. I'm just glad we didn't have any kids, despite trying, because that would have ripped out my soul. I'm recovering and rediscovering myself. I can move on. I wish him well. Wow, that's a master level of maturity. OP's not upset with him at all. First wife was a bridezilla. During the honeymoon she realized she was married, and the wedding day was history. She wanted the big wedding, which she had, not the marriage. The next 2 years were hell until she finally tapped out. I was young and stupid, and the thought of divorce never crossed my mind. I don't know why it didn't. I guess I just assumed I'd be miserable for the rest of my life. When she told me she was leaving, it felt as if the weight of the world was off of my shoulders. On a happy note, her parents were still paying off the wedding when we divorced. That's what happens when you allow your daughter everything she wanted, including 2 wedding dresses. Raise your kids, then you can spoil your grandkids. Spoil your kids, then you will raise your grandkids. Why the hell would you purchase 2 wedding dresses? That's pretty normal today. I don't know how it was 7 years ago, But today almost everyone has a big poofy one for the ceremony and then a party dress for later. A bit of a change up, not a bridezilla but a groomzilla. A friend of my father was remarrying. It was both his and the bride's second time around, both in their early 40s and an arranged marriage. Think Indian Orthodox Muslim stuff. The guy was an utter groomzilla. He demanded that every event be at top-notch hotels with obscenely expensive catering and hired string quartets and whatnot for the entertainment. Mostly paid by the bride's family's pocket, I might add. The parties on the nights leading up to the main wedding event were opportunity enough for him to make a rather public a-hole of himself, talking at the top of his voice and showboating the entire time. But the kicker came the next day, when the bride was missing from her own wedding's reception. Obviously, it was very odd and conspicuous, and the few relatives from her side made some non-committal excuses about her not feeling well, etc. Turns out this a-hole had divorced the poor woman right after he had his wedding night fun. He said that he didn't like her enough, and that's an almost literal quote. So he gave her the triple divorce thing, and that was it. The marriage was officially over before the festivities even ended. Wow, that is some impressive entitlement. Were there any repercussions for him at all? Like lawsuits or loss of reputation, anything? OP replied, none whatsoever. The entire incident was treated like a semi-joke in the upper middle class circuits. I heard only 2 to 3 people actually talk about how he essentially ruined her life forever. Being divorced carries a huge stigma to begin with. So imagine twice divorced with this kind of story. Before reading these comments, I thought a bridezilla was a woman huge and strong enough to be compared to Godzilla, and entered the thread eagerly, expecting to read stories about grooms getting lifted and carried off into the sunset on the wedding day. I am very disappointed. I want to live in your world. It sounds more interesting. Married for 7 years before I bailed. Best decision of my life. Got married again 5 years later to a girl that just wanted a justice of the peace wedding. Second best decision of my life. Alright you guys, that's it for today. Have a lovely, lovely day and see you in my next video.